Good morning and welcome to year number 5 of Pitt to the Point. I'm Colin Ferguson.
And I'm Kaylin Davis. Pitt to the Point is your weekly 1-hour Emmy Award nominated news and magazine program that airs live from the state-of-the-art Pitt studios.
Pitt to the Point covers everything from the University of Pittsburgh to the City of Pittsburgh, as well as national and international events, news, people, and stories.
We're back with your favorite segments such as Alumni Spotlight and Clubbing at Pitt, which showcases one of our amazing student-run clubs here.
We'll feature stories from our incredible University of Pittsburgh regional campuses and tell you the top headlines from our neighborly journalists in arms, the Pitt News.
And we'll be joined live by our affiliate college and high school partners and their student anchors who will tell you what's going on in their school and their communities. Now, we're statewide from Pittsburgh to Lancaster to Philadelphia.
And of course, we'll bring you the most up-to-date news from the world of politics, sports, business and technology, medicine, and entertainment in the City of Pittsburgh and at the University of Pittsburgh.
Conflict is raging in the Middle East as the battle between the U.S. and Iran continues. Unfortunately, American citizens are beginning to feel the effects.
Oil prices have jumped to $118 per barrel, building what is turning into an energy crisis after Israeli forces struck an Iranian energy field. U.S. President Donald Trump claims he has instructed his Israeli allies to halt attacks on these energy depots.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent stated Thursday that the United States plans to unsanction ship Iranian oil, numbering around 140 million barrels. The U.S. could also release more oil from its own reserves.
President Trump has also called for $200 billion in new Pentagon funding, stating it is a, quote, small price to pay to ensure the military is sufficiently equipped for combat.
They have been literally obliterated. The Air Force is gone. The Navy is gone. Many ships have been sunk. They're warfighting ships, but I guess they didn't know how to use them. And anti-aircraft is decimated. Their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well.
Travel all across the country is becoming increasingly difficult as over 50,000 transportation and safety administration workers have been without pay since February 14th as a result of a standoff in Congress over funding for the Department of Homeland Security.
Over a third of TSA workers have called out of U.S. major airports amidst the funding battle, shuttering security stations across the nation.
The debate has sparked from a disagreement on funding for immigration control. Workers missed their first full paycheck last Friday, beginning the onslaught of unscheduled absences.
Workers do not see an end to the partial shutdown, leading to their departure. They have also begun seeking out other places of employment, at times picking up shifts during the time they should be within the airport.
Battles over immigration control are not limited to the national level. A new decision has been made much closer to home. Our political reporter Fada Hindawi has the latest. Fada?
Allegheny County Council passed a bill last Tuesday that would bar Allegheny County employees from working or aiding federal enforcement and immigration enforcement agents. This comes after an accusation that some Allegheny County employees and departments were aiding ICE agents, like the sheriff's office. But the lines between federal and local powers are a little blurred. So here's what a county-wide restriction to ICE activity might entail.
A bill to ban Allegheny County employees from cooperating with ICE passed 11-3 last Tuesday, following the Trump administration's immigration crackdown both locally in Pennsylvania and nationwide. Councilmember Bethany Hollum introduced the bill in January to seek to restrict local governments from aiding federal immigration and custom enforcement agents.
We knew it was happening here in Allegheny County, even though it was getting national attention, especially when I started murdering people like Keith Porter. The speed up a little bit and introduce it as soon as possible. Whereas prior to that, it was just drafting, conversations with community members, and sourcing bills from other jurisdictions that we thought was a good template for our legislation. So when I first introduced it, I used the combination of Allentown, Pennsylvania, who out of all the ordinance that we saw, after consulting with the ACLU and other immigrants' rights organizations and roundtables, we thought, okay, this is the best one here locally. And then Denver, Colorado had one as well that folks sent my way that had pieces that I really liked that I thought would strengthen the Allentown version.
We spoke with members of county council. We shared our suggestions. We thought that was really strong.
This will be applied to over 6,000 employees, but the anxiety that ICE raids will continue despite that has remained. Councilman DeWitt Walton, a Democrat, criticized the bill in being ineffective in nullifying ICE's tenacity.
He was asking for a non-binding resolution, which is basically not a law. It just says, hey, you guys should do this. And an ordinance is the strongest of all of those, which is what the non-cooperation with ICE bill is. An ordinance is an actual codified law. It gives explicit guidance and explicit punishment for violations of the law.
It was a statement. It was a bold move, and we're very grateful. But again, at the end of the day, ICE will continue to do whatever they want to do. At the municipal building, at courts, people going to pay traffic fines, things like that, getting ICE called on them.
Before this legislation was introduced, I personally and other folks that I know, we have all received complaints from folks who are operating within the courthouse saying, I know the sheriffs are assisting ICE. I saw this, this happened to my clients.
Great to have a conversation with the sheriff because he has refused to meet with us. This all came from a leaked memo that we were given, his thoughts on how he should detain people for ICE. So why would we be using county resources to help the federal government where they have billions and billions and billions of dollars to do this work?
From hopes that this may quell ICE raids to concerns that this bill might not be a viable obstacle, local governments are grappling with how to protect their immigrant communities, despite the level of enforcement powers they actually have. For Pitt to the Point, I'm political reporter Farah Hindawi. Kaylin, Colin?
Thanks, Farah. Tuesday marked the beginning of Senate debate over President Trump's proposed Save America Act, a bill that would require individuals to provide documentation for proof of citizenship in order to vote in federal elections.
States would be prohibited from processing any application to vote without said documentation. The bill also clarifies that acceptable documentation is that which complies with the 2005 Real ID Act. Senate Democrats are expected to block the bill's passage, citing concern for Americans who do not have documentation readily available.
The bill is called the Save America Act. The policies in this bill have the support of more than 80% of Americans. Some of my colleagues say that the Save America Act isn't necessary. They are wrong.
Bus transportation is an integral part of getting around the city of Pittsburgh, but after an attack on Saturday, questions have arisen about safety. For more, we turn to City Beat reporter Nick Bennick. Nick?
Thanks, Colin. The Port Authority bus lines are an incredible resource to all students in Pittsburgh, but a recent shooting on the P1 bus line has left some students questioning their safety. Well, what better way to find out that sentiment than to ask them while waiting in line for the bus? The Port Authority buses run like clockwork around Pittsburgh, going right through our campus. Particularly the 61 bus lines connect Pitt students to several different hubs around the city. So it's easy to see why students would be concerned when a shooting took place on a Port Authority bus last Saturday.
Yeah, I personally haven't had any issues. I mean, it's kind of concerning that there was a shooting, but I haven't felt unsafe at all getting onto the buses.
I'd say that depending on the time of day and where the bus is going, I'd say that I feel safer compared to other times. There's worse areas that are a little more dangerous, I'd say, but around here I would say it's generally pretty safe.
I don't know if I I would say safe, because like anyone can get on them and have anything with them. Like there's no really like precautions, and like I don't know what precautions they could take, but I don't know if I would necessarily say I feel safe, but I feel okay, but I feel like always be aware of your surroundings.
The bus lines are integral to many students' commutes, with each one being different from the last.
I'd say about like 4 times a week.
I'd say like once a week, maybe a few times depending on the day.
Not much, maybe like once or twice a week.
A couple times a month.
Probably a couple times a week, I would say, but not every day.
While student opinion is split on overall safety, another issue has almost unanimous agreement.
They always show up. It's just a question of when, I guess. I mean, right now I think my bus is like 5 minutes late, so it just depends.
I wouldn't say it's the greatest, but it's, if you use the transit app, it's a lot better than if you use like Google Maps or something. I'd say, sometimes it's off by about a couple minutes, so if you're in a rush, I wouldn't really trust it.
I feel like sometimes they're consistent. I feel like I use the transit app, so like I feel like it's usually pretty reliable, but if it says like, if it shows like it's moving, like you can see, I feel like then it's reliable, but if it just says it's scheduled, and a lot of times I feel like it doesn't come.
For a lighter end of this story, the Port Authority police have stated that an individual has been arrested in relation to the shooting. For Pitt to the Point, I'm City Beat reporter Nick Bennick. Kaylin, Colin?
Nick, you've been a student here at the University of Pittsburgh for a good while now, and with your Pitt ID, you get access to the Port Authority buses for free, and they've been used, obviously, for a good while. What have your personal experiences been?
Well, personally for me as a film major, I love taking the 61D down in AMC waterfront. But what I did find when talking with a lot of students is that the biggest issue they had with the consistency of the buses is that the transit app and whatever else they use to track where the buses are were a little inconsistent with when the buses actually arrived. Hopefully, when the buses get new lanes in the next couple of years, it'll be something that's a little bit more uniform. Kaylin, Colin?
Thanks, Nick. We've covered a lot to start today's show, and we're just getting started.
That's right. When we get back, we'll take a look at Pittsburgh street vendors taking on the National Football League and the result of a federal investigation.
And we'll get to visit from 2 groups of friends. We'll look at headlines from our partners at the Pitt News and hear the latest from Lancaster Catholic High School. All of this and more on Pitt to the Point.
I'm so honored and humbled to officially welcome you to the University of Pittsburgh.
Never in our 238-year history has a Pitt education been so much in demand. It's possible at Pitt is not just something we say when you walk in the door. Hail to each of you, hail to possible, and hail to Pitt.
Thanks for tuning back in to Pitt to the Point. Happen to watch a story today that piques your curiosity? Want to find more about what's going on in Pittsburgh? Visit our website.
That's right. If you want to find out more about the world of politics, medicine, business, technology, and more, log on to pittothepoint.com.
Not only can you see clips from today's show, but you can also read about topics that interest you and more. Check it out at pittothepoint.com.
A federal grand jury has indicted a Pittsburgh attorney on charges of wire fraud and money laundering. The 53-year-old Christopher Furman faces 10 counts after nearly $1.4 million was transferred into his own bank account through 25 electronic transactions.
Furman was named president of the Board of Trustees for the Society for the Preservation of the Duquesne Heights Incline in 2020. This position has no authorization to access any bank account within the society.
Furman was a former employee of the Incline, having worked in mechanical operations. The indictment alleges that the transfers began in October of 2024 and went through September 2025 before being transferred to cryptocurrency.
The NFL draft will touch down in Pittsburgh soon, and vendors are speaking out about the treatment they received these past few months.
Our business and tech reporter, Maxine Van Nortwick, has the story. Maxine?
This April, many businesses are expecting to come and join the NFL draft, as the city's expected to make between $100 million and $215 million. While small businesses are trying to get in as draft vendors, some feel they are being treated unfairly by the draft and are unable to participate in the draft.
Chef David Ellis, owner of food truck and catering service Chef in the Box, applied to be a vendor for the NFL draft and thought he would be quickly accepted due to his reputation and plethora of 5-star reviews. But instead, he got rejected and never told why.
People trying to say you got to sign up early. I've done it. I've been to the meetings and everything else. I applied. I have all my licenses. I have my permits. I've been doing stuff all through Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, everywhere, even Baltimore. So I went down there, went to the meeting, sat there, applied, and I am my own independent minority small business owner and everything else. But I'm like, why wasn't I accepted? They never gave me an excuse.
According to the NFL, more than 1,700 businesses applied and more than 165 were chosen to become vendors. But an official list of the vendors won't be released until after the draft, and Alice wonders how many of the businesses will be minority owned.
Vendors, we have it all here in Pittsburgh too. Just give us an opportunity to show off, but they don't want to let us show off. And it is, and I do believe it's because of the minority and everything else. I wonder how many minority companies do they have down there.
The Pittsburgh directed media inquiry towards the NFL Draft Source Program webpage, which supports diverse businesses in becoming subcontractors for the draft. Pittsburgh Local Organizing Committee said in a statement, quote, "While not every local business can be represented within the official draft footprint, there are many ways for businesses to capitalize on this event and the anticipated 500,000 to 700,000 visitors it is bringing to the region. Local businesses are also encouraged to submit their draft week events to be included on NFLDraftPittsburgh.com for added visibility." When Ellis and other Black business owners were denied a vendor spot, they turned to event organizer William B. Marshall, who has led the Juneteenth Festival and Pittsburgh Soul Food Festival, among others.
So earlier this year, I was getting calls and text messages and different contacts from our vendors telling me that they can't get inside the draft. And would I produce something for the NFL draft? So what I ended up doing was in October of 2025, I filed an application to host a small business showcase or plaza in downtown Pittsburgh.
Marshall was contacted by the city in November, who told him that he could move his event or wait to see what's going on with the NFL draft. He chose to wait before being contacted by NFL officials, who he claims gave him reasons as to why his plan wouldn't work. After a dialogue between Marshall and officials about solutions he didn't see fit, he said,
"Are you really trying to stop us from trying to help the Black business and making money for this draft situation? Like, what's going on here? Like everything you're saying is nothing positive. It's why don't I stop something, or why don't I do something else, or take it somewhere else?" So she immediately started to tell me, no, we're not trying to do that, and blah, blah. We feel it's a discriminatory practice to actually tell the Black businesses that need so much in this city that they won't be able to participate in this event
are mixed opinions on the draft, with the Pittsburgh Local Organizing Committee saying it'll be a, quote, game changer for the local economy, while Marshall is actively discouraging people from attending. For Pitt to the Point, I'm business and technology reporter Maxine Van Norwick. Kaylin, Colin?
In case you didn't know, there are many outlets to get your news from here at the University of Pittsburgh, like the Pitt News.
That's right, Colin. The Pitt News is our university's student-run newspaper, bringing you the finest news every week. Let's see what our fellow journalists have today.
This week, Kathy Climbers and Clavicular work it out on Pitt's campus. To find out more, we turn to the student perspective at the University of Pittsburgh, the Pitt News, and their top headlines. Every day, students train their brains across the 42 floors of the Cathedral of Learning. But some Pittsburghers are getting creative on what muscles to work out on those steps. Students and community members have trekked up and down Kathy to boost their cardio for years. Inside the landmark building, individuals can prepare for bike rides and hikes while not worrying about outside weather conditions. Along this journey, some have even found a community of like-minded climbers, ready to join each other on their next adventure. But these climbers aren't the only ones focused on physical fitness. Online looksmaxers have taken the internet by storm with their extreme methods in the pursuit of attractiveness. This online movement fits into broader commentary on how appearance and hypermasculinity are valued in society. While initially in the corners of the internet, controversial figures like the streamer Clavicular have pushed looksmaxers into the limelight. The Pitt News reports that Pitt students largely aren't buying what these figures are selling, but only time will tell the impact they will leave. Thank you to Ella Pochran and Maxine Van Norwick for their reporting. And for more on community climbers, infamous influencers, and the student perspective on the world around us, check out The Pitt News.
We love having our college and high school partners on the show every week. It's extremely important to us to provide a platform for other journalists to share their talents.
This week, coming all the way from Lancaster Catholic High School, we have Crusaders Olivia Havrilla and Ava Swartz telling us all about a tasty treat.
I can't wait to hear all about it. How's it going, guys?
It's going great, and thank you. I'm Ava Swartz, joining you from our brand new news studio.
And I'm Olivia Abrilla. We are here from Lancaster Catholic High School, located in Lancaster, PA.
We wanted to say thank you for having us on the show, and we would like to share with you something that represents us here in Lancaster.
And that is shoe-fi pie. And here's where they make the best shoe-fi pie.
Few desserts capture the Pennsylvania Dutch spirit quite like shoe-fly pie. The distinct Pennsylvania Dutch culture that we know today developed through the 18th and 19th centuries as German immigrants mixed their native cultures with the ones of Pennsylvania farmers. Around 1876, the shoe-fly pie was born, made by Pennsylvania Dutch farmers to celebrate the country's centennial, and this sweet pie quickly became a staple of their culture and cuisine. Here in Lancaster, shoe-fly pie is in every bakery. We find it at parties and family dinners. Clyde Weaver is well known in Lancaster for their smoked meats and cheese, which they have been selling for over 100 years. But their underrated bakery has been making shoe-fly pie for just as long, and they explain why its heritage is so important.
So it's very traditional to the area. The recipe that we make here at our store is from the founders themselves, the grandmother of the family.
Clyde Weaver still sells their shoe-fly pies in their store to great success, selling thousands every year and keeping the tradition alive. I encourage you to try shoe-fly pie at least once in your life. If you can't make the pilgrimage to Lancaster, don't worry. Shoe-fly pie is very easy to make and enjoy at home, as there are countless simple recipes that you can find online. Every bite of shoe-fly pie contains more than just some crust and some molasses. It contains the culture of Lancaster baked into it. Clyde Weaver shows us the amazing tradition behind this dish, and it holds a special place in many of our hearts. For the Lancaster Catholic Morning Show, I'm Finn Milligan.
That is our story behind the classic shoe-fly pie.
It definitely is. There's nothing better than a recipe that has been passed down through many generations.
It's really traditions like these that make our community so special. Now back to you, Kaylin and Colin.
Thank you so much, Ava and Olivia. I've been hearing all about this new studio, and I want you guys to share a little bit of insight on this.
Yeah, we just received this new studio at the beginning of the school year. It is an amazing state-of-the-art studio that we're super excited to be learning about slowly throughout the year. And we're finally at the point where we have been starting live shows.
Yes, we've gone through a lot of learning curves, but it's definitely been fun to learn all this new equipment. Back to you guys.
And, obviously it's a big learning curve to go there. What has been your favorite part of getting this one done?
My favorite part about getting this studio has been being able to learn these things before I go to college. It's what I want to do in college. So having this prior knowledge about camera equipment, soundboards, teleprompters is just going to be really helpful for me starting my career.
Yes, I also want to do this in college. So it's been nice to learn new things that I will eventually do there and stuff that many other people don't get to do. Back to you, Kaylin and Colin.
Thank you, Lancaster Catholic, for joining us today. Now, we've been sitting here for a long while, Kaylin. I think it might be time for us to focus on a little bit of activity.
How about some volleyball? I've heard there's a brand new professional league coming in town.
Or maybe some basketball? I hear some familiar Panther names are making waves at professional level.
We'll take a look at all of it when we come back to Pitt to the Point.
You're why we believe it's possible at Pitt.
We each became a part of something larger than ourselves.
Paige Allen.
Thank you.
What if you had over 30,000 big thinkers and believers behind you? In a city connected to everything? Well, you'd probably find yourself doing something truly incredible.
Volleyball has a brand new professional league in the U.S., and as it grows, new cities are joining the fun. Our city sports reporter, Natalie Fogel, is taking a look at potentially bringing the pros to Pittsburgh. Natalie?
Major League Volleyball is currently in its first season after the rebrand of the two-year-old league, Pro Volleyball Federation. While volleyball isn't the most popular professional sport, it is the most popular female sport among youth competition, making the lack of women's professional sports a motivation for this up-and-coming league.
Well, I think the primary reason that we started the league was that, our founders and our league owners who were with us from the get-go wanted to provide this opportunity to volleyball players to play here in the United States. Previously, before MLV started, high-level volleyball players had to go overseas to play the sport professionally. Pittsburgh's a great sports town. Obviously, they have a great volleyball program at the University of Pittsburgh. The professional sports there have always been a long history of great professional sports. I think what's different about us as opposed to some other startup leagues is we're set up just like the kind of the big professional sports leagues, your Major League Baseball, your NBA, your NFL. We have team owners, we have team front offices, as opposed to some of the professional leagues and other sports that have started up in recent years where it's a centralized owner. So they own all the teams and they're selecting their markets where they want to be. So a lot of people will ask me, how do we get a team in this city or that city? And really one of the prime factors in that is, do you have an ownership group that wants to have a team in that city? Obviously, Pittsburgh would be attractive, for many reasons, but the key thing would be finding the right ownership group that might be interested in having a team there. We're at 8 teams this season. We added one new team this year, the Dallas Pulse, who's having a great year. They're actually sitting at second place in our league right now. But we've already got 3 teams that have been announced for 2027. So we're going to be adding teams in Washington, D.C., Northern California, and also Minneapolis, St. Paul. Those 3 teams are going to be joining us in 27 to bring us to 11. So that's exciting. And it's the same kind of thing I mentioned earlier about possibly being in the city of Pittsburgh. We're going to be strategic about how we add teams, and then hopefully in the near future we continue to grow. Diehard fans, they know how exciting the sport is. They've watched it for years, and we want to make sure we keep them. So we're staying true to the game for the most part, although we're trying to do some things to bring in the casual sports fans. So we're trying to make sure that we're cognizant of the speed of the game. We're using a serve clock, for example, to make sure that the pace is consistent. We believe strongly that, once the casual sports fan, they come across it on TV and they see the matches, they'll be hooked. We're just excited to continue growing the sport, to see how appreciative our athletes are of not only the opportunity, but they also understand kind of the role model they're setting for young girls. Youth volleyball is actually the #1 girls sport in the country in terms of participation. So it's exciting for us that we know the market is there and our players see that and they want to be that role model for the young girls. When they were 8, 9 years old, our players didn't have, something to look at where they could say, I want to strive to play professional volleyball. But now young girls at that age are seeing that there's an opportunity there. So they want to keep it going and do the right things. We couldn't be happier about the way they have carried things so far through the first 3 seasons, and hopefully many more ahead.
While the league continues to expand, the expectations are already set here in Pittsburgh, thanks to Pitt volleyball's success and the city's reputation with professional sports. For Pitt to the Point, I'm City Sports reporter Natalie Fogel, now passing it on to Pitt Sports reporter Ryan Tarabokia. Ryan?
The University of Pittsburgh has spent the 2026 offseason reshaping how fans experience Pitt football. After changing the seating in Acrisure Stadium, the university announced a multitude of promotional events for both students and diehard Pitt fans. Pitt's new promotional schedule will have events for all of Pitt's home 2026 games. Events include Pittsburgh Day, Hail the Heroes, Hall of Fame Weekend, Party on the North Shore, and much more. The university will continue to make updates as the offseason continues. Now, the University of Pittsburgh is known for sending football players into the NFL, especially under head coach Pat Narduzzi. However, Pitt basketball head coach Jeff Capel has had his own success in sending Panthers into the pros.
Despite the Pittsburgh Panthers missing the NCAA tournament, the individual success of players has reached far beyond the collegiate level. Head coach Jeff Capel has sent 3 players to the NBA, all of which are having the best years of their careers. Carlton Bub Carrington came in as one of the highest recruits in Panther history. In his time at Pitt, he was named to the ACC All-Freshman team and was regarded as a top NBA draft prospect, averaging 13.8 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, and 4.1 assists. This led to him being drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers 14th overall, being traded to the Washington Wizards on draft night. After making the all-rookie team in his first season in the NBA, Carrington has spent this year starting half of the Wizards' games, averaging 10 points per game, and leading the team with 4.5 assists per game. Since his first year, Carrington has increased his three-point shooting by 6% and looks to be a key piece in the Wizards' rebuilding process. Blake Hinson, arguably the most successful collegiate player under Capel, was named to the ACC All-Conference team in both of his 2 years at Pitt, averaging 18.5 points per game and leading the entire ACC in three-point percentage. Hinson was also a member of the only Pitt team to win an NCAA tournament game during the Jeff Capel era. Hinson would go undrafted and sign a 2-way contract with the Golden State Warriors. After spending 2 years in the G League, the NBA's developmental league, he would eventually make his NBA debut with the Utah Jazz on February 12th of this year. Hinson has appeared in 9 games for the Jazz, starting in 1 while averaging 9.1 points per game and shooting 46.7% from 3 this year. Justin Champagnie, the longest tenured Panther to come from Jeff Capel, has spent 5 years in the NBA. At Pitt, Champagnie was named to the ACC All-Conference team in his sophomore season, averaging 18 points per game and leading the conference with 11 rebounds per game. After going undrafted, Champagnie would spend time with the Toronto Raptors, Boston Celtics, and the Washington Wizards, where he now currently plays with Garrington. In the 2024-2025 NBA season, Champagnie would set a career high in points per game, averaging 8.8 points and 5.7 rebounds per game. He's currently averaging 8.4 rebounds per game and 5.6 rebounds. The Panthers also have 2 other players in the NBA, in Cameron Johnson and Steven Adams. Despite not playing under Capel, both have thrived in their roles, with Adams being Pitt's all-time leader in NBA games played.
With Capel returning for this upcoming season and landing the highest-ranked recruit in Panther basketball history, the program hopes to expand on its presence within the NBA. For Pitt to the Point, I'm Pitt sports reporter Ryan Tarabokia. Colin, Kaylin.
You know, Ryan, you and I have been part of the University of Pittsburgh for around the same amount of time. And with it, we've watched this Pitt basketball program, kind of grow. And obviously, we've seen a couple of hometown favorites make it all the way to the NBA. What is your favorite Panther representation that we see in the big leagues?
Great question, Colin, because, my freshman year, Bub Carrington and Blake Hinson were instrumental on that Panthers team. But Blake Hinson led the ACC in three-point percentage and averaged 18.5 points per game. He was just a superstar. And when he dropped 40 against Louisville, he'll always hold a special place in Panthers' hearts. So I think it would be Hinson. But Colin, Kaylin?
Thanks, Ryan. If you were excited for Pitt football's annual blue and gold game this year, we unfortunately have to be the bearer of bad news.
This may come as a shock to some, but this year's spring game will be closed to the public due to preparations for the 2026 NFL Draft around Acrisure Stadium.
Now, as upsetting as this is, there are still opportunities for fans to celebrate their Pitt Panthers.
That's correct. Fans can attend the Pitt Block Party at Arts Landing during the NFL Draft from April 23rd to April 25th.
The free 3-day fan event will take place in downtown Pittsburgh's Cultural District. It will feature an immersive Pitt football museum and draft showcase, food trucks, live entertainment, and interactive activities that highlight Pitt's NFL history and legacy.
Ballet has been in the news this week for more reasons than one. Timothy Chalamet shared his opinion on the art, and Missy Copeland with a stellar performance at the Oscars.
Here at Pitt, over 200 students share a deep love for the art and perform at various shows throughout the year.
Ballet Club is a completely student-run club. We put together a production each semester, and we make up our choreography, we put together our costumes, stage, set, everything. And it's basically open to anyone who wants to do ballet. So we do auditions, but we don't cut anyone. We, in the past, usually try to get dancers in 2+ dances per show, but obviously as more people join the club, there's less slots for everyone to be in multiple dances. So I think trying to stick to that and not cut people short of how much stage time they have is one challenge. So each fall, we love to stick to tradition around Christmas time. So every fall we do Nutcracker. We usually have the same dances each time. We have different choreographers each year, so it's always interesting to see each student's vision for each traditional Nutcracker dance. And then for the spring, we do a mixed variety show. So we not only include ballet as a style, but also different versions of dance. So we'll have jazz dance, we'll have hip hop, we'll have tap, just to have a whole mix. So each year our spring show does change. In the past 2 years, we've done Alice in Wonderland, we've done Wizard of Oz, but for this year we're doing Sleeping Beauty, which is super exciting. Sleeping Beauty, it will be April 25th. Yes, April 25th, 12 and 4 p.m. So we're super excited. Weekend before finals, but it could be a study break for whoever wants to come and watch. We are a really big club. We just hit the 200+ mark last semester for Nutcracker. So we have a lot of chefs in the kitchen when it comes to e-board. Our e-board is comprised of 10 people. My role personally is administrative vice president, so I help book the stage and auditorium, get the contract settled for that, funding and everything. Since we do expect an increase in dancers, I think we're always keeping in the back of our head whether we need to add more dances to the production. And another thing is funding. If we need to, purchase more costumes to make sure everyone's in something that they're comfortable with. I think Ballet Club connects everyone in one way or another. But yeah, you are bound to know someone who knows someone who's in Ballet Club.
We hope you've been enjoying the show so far, and don't worry, we still have plenty of exciting stories coming to you on Pitt to the Point.
That's right. Stay tuned for an awesome alumni spotlight, a spike in ticket prices, and the end of a religious moment of self-reflection.
I'm so honored and humbled to officially welcome you to the University of Pittsburgh.
Never in our 238-year history has a Pitt education been so much in demand. It's possible at Pitt is not just something we say when you walk in the door. Hail to each of you, hail to possible, and hail to Pitt.
The University of Pittsburgh provides the resources for many students to thrive even after graduation.
Today's Alumni Spotlight follows Matt Hawley, a 2017 Pitt graduate who captures fellow Panthers in their most precious moment. Some of these moments you might even recognize.
I started at Pitt in 2013. I was always really interested in sports, so I knew early on I wanted to get involved in that. I didn't do anything my freshman year other than going to every basketball game, every football game, everything possible I could go to. And then the next year, I heard there was a couple spots open to be a student manager with women's basketball. So I reached out to the coaches, and then I was able to get a spot there and work with them. And so I was doing that, and then I became more involved with the athletic department because of that. And then my junior year, I started doing more photo things with the Pitt News, and then a couple other sites that covered Pitt athletics. And then that gave me more access to games, did more photos. I kept doing that for a couple years. Starting my junior and senior year, I was a Panther Pitt leader for the football student section. I was all over football, and then I was with basketball, student manager with women's basketball. So I was very into the athletic department. And then I graduated in 2017, started grad school here. That was the year when Pitt hired me to do freelance photography for Pitt. My first game was like a test run, was like a football game for them, and I did really well, so they kept me on after that, and I've been doing photos ever since 2017 for Pitt in helping out in most sports, so it's been almost a decade now. I think it was 2023 when one of our wrestlers, Nino, won the national championship, and that was like one of the most stressful days of my life, but like it was such an exciting moment for like the school, him, his family. We're all there to like watch it happen, and watch him like make history was like really fun. So that was a good, cool moment. Just the appreciation of the athletes is always one, because we're taking photos and videos, but it's ultimately like for them, it's for their parents, and then it's for the school. So when they appreciate it, it's really nice. My biggest piece of advice for people trying to like get into athletics or do anything, honestly like anything in life beyond school, but especially in college athletics, is the world is so small, everyone is connected. So pretty much talk to anyone and everyone, reach out to SIDs. If you're working a game, talk with other people working there. And again, more networking.
It is not cheap to attend events nowadays, with prices for concerts and sporting events rising over 400% since 1996. Our entertainment reporter Morgan Arlia has a closer look. Morgan?
Pitt students have easy access to a bunch of different concert venues, one being the Pitt here on campus, as well as the different venues downtown. With this easy access comes a high demand to attend these concerts. Yet, recent increase in ticket prices has caused some students to feel discouraged about attending. A few Pitt students gave their opinions on concert ticket prices.
Concert tickets used to be something college students could look forward to without thinking twice. But today, for many students, seeing their favorite concerts feels more like a luxury than a typical night. With the rise of concert ticket prices, many college students have strong opinions about them.
Have you been to any concerts recently?
Yes, I've been to the Lorde concert that was held at the Pitt.
And how did you feel about the pricing?
I definitely thought it was more expensive. I got my tickets secondhand, so it's definitely $100 more than I would have wanted.
And do you feel like concert tickets are too expensive for college students?
Definitely. I think as a college student, we already have to budget our money each month, and obviously we're in college, we want to have fun and go to concerts, this is the time to do it, and having to pay that much for it is really one of the issues I see. And I feel like concerts should be fun, concerts should be for everybody and should be accessible for everybody, so I definitely think they should be cheaper.
Have you been to any concerts recently?
Yes, I went to Noah Rinker and Vincent Mason 2 weeks ago.
And how much did you pay for those tickets?
For Noah Rinker, I paid about $25, and for Vincent Mason, I think I paid $60.
How do you feel about concert ticket pricing in general?
I feel like it's pretty bad, and it's usually pretty high. Some of the smaller artists will be more affordable, but a lot of the bigger artists are super out of the budget most of the time.
And what's the most you've spent on a concert ticket?
I think the most I've spent on a concert ticket was $300.
Do you feel like concert ticket pricings are kind of unaffordable for college students?
I do, and I think there should be a system. If you buy so many tickets, then you get points off or something, or there should be a college discount, because it is kind of crazy.
Can you tell me if you've bought any concert tickets recently?
No, but I was recently looking at some concert tickets for Beyonce over the summer.
And how did you feel about the pricing for that?
I thought it was a lot, because it was $200 for nosebleeds, and I honestly wasn't going to pay that. But I do love Beyonce, so I was maybe thinking about doing it.
And what do you think? Do you think that the way tickets are priced, do you think that is unaffordable for college students?
Yeah, definitely unaffordable, because there are just certain things that nosebleeds, I feel like it should be $50. I don't think it should be worth $200, $300. I know one friend, she ended up paying $1,000 for just seats that were kind of in the middle, and it wasn't even a good view. So yeah, it's weird. I don't really like the pricing that much, because I don't really go to a lot of concerts, but I would definitely go to more if they were more affordable.
Not only are college students beginning to speak out against concert ticket prices, but some celebrities and artists have been speaking out as well. Last November, Olivia Dean spoke out against companies like Ticketmaster for their high resale ticket prices. For Pitt to the Point, I'm entertainment reporter Morgan Arlia. Kaylin, Colin.
So Morgan, with the expensiveness of these ticket prices, do you think that there will be a decline in attendance at these concerts?
Like you mentioned earlier, with the 400% increase in ticket prices since 1996, there really hasn't been that much of a decrease from what I have seen. But companies now and different artists are putting in regulations so that resale ticket prices will not exceed the price of face value. So I think this will keep attendance the way it is, if not encourage more people to start attending more concerts. Kaylin, Colin.
Thanks, Morgan. We're winding the show down, but don't worry, we've still got plenty left to talk about.
That's right. We got stories from religious practices to celebrations of Women History Month right here in the Steel City.
Not only that, we're going to sit down in a booth to talk about the most victorious a cheeseburger can be. All this and more when we return to Pitt to the Point.
I'm so honored and humbled to officially welcome you to the University of Pittsburgh.
Never in our 238-year history has a Pitt education been so much in demand. It's possible at Pitt is not just something we say when you walk in the door. Hail to each of you, hail to possible, and hail to Pitt.
This morning, you take your place in this honored tradition. You take your place in a time of great challenge and even greater opportunity.
Community comes at the cost of your comfort zone. You don't just stumble upon community in college, you create it. I hope that your journey outside of your comfort zone eventually leads you to a community that welcomes you exactly as you are. Class of 2029, whatever you're feeling right now, I hope that sometime soon you feel at home.
Congratulations, class of 2029, and good luck to you as you begin your journey.
What if you had over 30,000 big thinkers and believers behind you? In a city connected to everything? Well, you'd probably find yourself doing something truly incredible.
Well, if for some weird reason you missed a segment from Pitt to the Point or missed the show altogether, don't fret. We've got a website for that. The Pitt to the Point website, pittothepoint.com, has all of your favorite stories from politics to sports, entertainment, and plenty more.
On top of that, we have exclusive articles from your favorite Pitt to the Point personalities. Go check out the website today.
That's right. If you want to find out more about the world of politics, medicine, business, technology, and more, log on to pittothepoint.com.
Not only can you see clips from today's show, but you can also read about the topics that interest you and more. Check it out at pittothepoint.com. Today marks the end of a major Muslim holiday of Ramadan, a month-long dawn-to-dusk fast focusing on gratitude and community. The end is known as Eid al-Fitr, the festival of breaking the fast.
Ramadan is observed by almost 2 billion Muslims worldwide, classifying it as a major religious observance.
Eid al-Fitr occurs at moon, signifying the start of the Islamic month Shawwal.
The event is surrounded with special prayer, sweet dishes, and giving back to charity, which is one of the major themes of the holiday. We at Pitt to the Point would like to extend a blessed festival to all who took part in this month. Happy Women's History Month to all the amazing women watching today from us at Pitt to the Point.
Yes, of course, the Heinz Memorial Chapel made sure to celebrate this special month, and our Pitt beat reporter, Ricketta Livingston, followed this story.
When I started this job, 2018, March rolled around and I started thinking it's Women's History Month. And there are so many women a part of this building, not only in being dedicated to a woman, but displayed in the windows, depicted in the windows. And I wanted to honor that. And some of the women you heard of before, some you haven't. So I wanted to research and find out, especially the ones I didn't know about, and find a way to present that. Charles Connick was the artist behind all 23 windows in the chapel, and the ones that primarily we talked about in the tour are the transept windows in the center of the chapel, which are 73 feet of stained glass. And so I say we're among the tallest of stained glass in the world. But as you can see, they're quite remarkable. And each one does have a theme at the top. All the windows really in the chapel have a theme, but there's truth, temperance, tolerance, and courage. There are almost 400 identifiable individuals in the windows. So although we'll have, one in a particular area of the window that's, the largest depiction and the focus and the theme really of that area, even in the corners, Connick put additional individuals represented. So sometimes within, with the main character, but in these roundels, he called them, in the corners, he's added other people. I think it's important to continue to honor Women's History Month. Like I said, there's many women in these windows and throughout history, I'm sure, that we haven't heard about, that we don't know their backgrounds, and we can learn something from them. And even if not, just learn their background and their achievements, what they have brought to society. And then I also, tie in this theme that the National Women's History Alliance does every year to honor women. And I try and tie in this theme, and it kind of brings it, into focus and into a contemporary focus. So I think it's important to honor the women, find out more about the ones we don't know about, and really to honor, honor their achievements.
This past Sunday, Michael B. Jordan took home his first Oscar at the 98th Academy Awards. This was also his first nomination.
He won the Oscar for Best Actor in a Leading Role for his performance as the Smoke and Stack twins in the blockbuster film Sinners.
The director of Sinners, Ryan Coogler, and Michael B. Jordan have done 5 movies with each other, dating back to 2013 with Fruitvale Station.
Jordan decided to skip the after parties and take the celebration to In-N-Out Burger, where he enjoyed a cheeseburger with his award right on the table.
Yes, he was seen eating a 3x3 cheeseburger, which consists of 3 beef patties and 3 slices of cheese, while never straying away from his award.
Jordan wrapped up the night by posing for photos and signing hats with the staff of In-N-Out. A little more than 25 years ago, the group U2 came out with a song called Beautiful Day. In the song, Bono sings, "It's a beautiful day, don't let it get away."
And who can forget how the great Mr. Fred Rogers always reminded us that it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. With spring just around the corner, let's take a fun look at what a beautiful day on Pitt's campus can look like.
Unfortunately, this is the conclusion of today's show, but don't fret, we will be right back here at the exact same time next week, and and every other week after that.
Whether you stayed for NFL draft updates, Senate votes, or large burgers, it was our pleasure to bring you the latest and greatest in sports, entertainment, business and tech, politics, university news, city news, and beyond.
We hope you enjoy your weekend and the warmer weather that's coming in the following weeks here in Pittsburgh. I'm Colin Ferguson.
And I'm Kaylin Davis. We'll see you next week back here on Pitt to the Point.